No one expected this to happen. Hollywood has spent years attacking Trump at every turn, but now, in a twist no one saw coming, they suddenly need his help. With AI threatening their industry, the same elites who mocked him are realizing he might be their best shot at fighting back. It's a level of irony they'd rather ignore, but the situation is getting too dire to deny. From actors to executives, desperation is setting in as they are scrambling for solutions, and today, we're covering it all. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
Well, it seems like Hollywood has never been kind to President Trump. Many of the industry's biggest celebrities have spent the last decade trying to smear his name. Director Judd Apatow, for example, called Trump a mass murderer back in 2020. Actor Mark Ruffalo claims that Trump is on a, quote, march to dictatorship. Actress Bette Midler once joked about giving Trump a shiv, and she suggested drinking Drano if he won the 2024 election. But now those same actors need Trump's help. According to Variety, those actors and others have all signed an open letter urging Trump not to roll back copyright protections for AI companies.
Yep, you heard that right. Imagine how uncomfortable this must be for actors like Mark Ruffalo and Ben Stiller, who are essentially full-time activists, to now realize they might need the help of the very person they relentlessly attacked for the past decade. Talk about an awkward reality check, but this issue isn't as simple as just political differences. Just 3 days after assuming office, Trump signed an executive order titled Removing Barriers to American Leadership in Artificial Intelligence, which aims to ensure America's global dominance when it comes to AI. But why are Hollywood elites panicking out of nowhere? Well, because leading AI companies have insisted that their models don't train on copyrighted material, which might be a big fat lie. Because we've seen lawsuits pile up, and the outcome of these cases will set a legal precedent that could change everything. I would say it's fair to say the industry isn't afraid about protecting creativity as much as they are focused on protecting their bottom line.
Okay, so I'm so interested in this. He wants to secure, he being President Trump, American AI dominance, and he asked big tech for submissions as to how to do that. So they give their submissions. He's going to have a policy announcement in July. But he's having to choose between big tech and big Hollywood, neither that have been particularly kind to him until recently. Big tech all showed up at the inauguration. So who do you pick? I feel like cannot wait till July. My money is on choosing big tech, big Hollywood. You got to get your act together. And I will say this, at the end of the day, Trump does things that are surprising. He will do what is fair. Could mean siding with big Hollywood, and wouldn't that be interesting to see?
I get the concern of AI outsmarting humans in the long run, but that seems to be far off and inevitable if we're being honest. What's keeping Hollywood elites up at night is something more immediate. It's AI's ability to replicate creative work, and seeing how the quality of everything we've been getting from the entertainment world lately, well, I guess they're afraid of being driven out of business. I mean, just look at the past 5 years. Can you name something groundbreaking they gave us? Endless remakes, sequels no one asked for? Apart from a handful of good projects, nothing comes to mind. What these people are trying to do is use their old libraries to strike deals with leading AI companies to improve their numbers, especially once you consider their profits are dropping. Right around the end of last year, Lionsgate signed such a deal, and it promises a transformational impact on their studio. The irony is that the industry embraced AI in visual effects, de-aging tech, and digital editing without hesitation. But now it's suddenly a crisis unless they get paid, of course.
This isn't about AI and Hollywood celebrities. It's about China. And that's why OpenAI and Google are saying, if you want China to blow us out of the water when it comes to AI and dominance, then go ahead and restrict, these celebrities' names and images and stuff. I get that they want, to own their faces. I understand that whole thing. But at the end of the day, all the companies are saying is we're going to get left behind and China's going to steal everything. And you think the Chinese are going to listen to a bunch of Hollywood celebrities? And guess what? They're not writing to the CCP. They're writing to the administration, to the American administration, because all of their money that they're making in China, they're not going to say anything to the CCP when they start stealing their stuff and using their faces and their voices. And that's because they won't stand up to them, because Hollywood does nothing but kowtow to China. It is hypocrisy at its finest.
This woman gets it. Even if the US caves to Hollywood's demands, the CCP won't play by the same rules. And guess who we're in direct competition with? In their letter to the president, these creatives wrote, "We firmly believe that America's global AI leadership must not come at the expense of our essential creative industries." Even when they're begging for help, they still manage to sound insufferable. They're okay with another country taking the leadership role as long as they get paid by the same companies they're currently fighting against. The reality is AI is here to stay and no amount of celebrity letters will change that. Plus, a recent MIT study found that while AI can assist in creative work, it eventually starts producing similar results across the board, lacking the originality that makes humans' creativity so powerful. That means artists, writers, and performers still have the edge if they actually focus on, creating something worthwhile instead of trying to block technological processes.
Remember when big tech, Google and the like, are squarely on the lib side, and they still are, but on this, celebs are breaking away claiming we want to be compensated for AI scraping the internet of all of our production, our creative input that you're profiting off of that we're not making a dime for.
Yeah, I'm probably a curmudgeon. I think creativity is nice, but I don't know it's important. I would have been a terrible person during the Renaissance, I guess. Let's just stick with the strict here. And I think there's a certain bit of poking fun of, you've said all these things, but now he is the president. You got to go to him. Nashville went through this a few years ago where AI was coming in and writing songs, and they wanted protections against their artistry. And I understand that, and I'm not against it, but it's just not a priority for me because I think entertainment is less important than our plumbers, welders, and masons. So that's what I'm focused on.
Tennessee did set some precedent with the Elvis Act last year, and I say some because that law only covers the audio part of this conversation. And listen, I at least understand the idea of regulating deepfakes that replicate the likeness and voice of someone without their consent. We actually have a legal basis for it with the right of publicity, but trying to regulate anything beyond that would be literal logistical nightmares, and even that would be very tough. First of all, most of the material AI models are trained on already existing across the internet. Secondly, enforcing restrictions would mean tracking down every data set, monitoring every AI model, and constantly updating laws to keep pace with evolving tech. Even then, loopholes would exist. Around a year ago, Elon Musk gave his 2 cents on the exact topic, and I think Hollywood is fighting the wrong battle.
Ask you an interesting IP issue, which I think is actually something I can say as somebody who's in the creator business and journalistic business and whatnot, where I care about copyright. So one of the things about training on data has been this idea that you're not going to train, or that these things are not being trained on people's copyrighted information. Historically, that's been the concept.
Yeah, that's a huge lie.
Say that again?
Yes, these AIs are all trained on copyrighted data, obviously.
And how you think the creative community and those who were the original IP owners should think about that?
I don't know, except to say that by the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So ask digital God at that point. These lawsuits won't be decided before on a time frame that is relevant.
And just a couple months ago, Elon revealed that artificial intelligence companies have run out of data for training their models and have exhausted the sum of human knowledge, which, according to multiple sources, this point was actually reached long ago. It seems to me that Hollywood's real problem isn't AI, it's that they're refusing to adapt to new realities, but that's to be expected from them. They spent years clinging to outdated business models, relying on nostalgia-driven reboots and sequels, instead of focusing on fresh stories. Now they see AI as a threat rather than an opportunity, scrambling to stop progress instead of evolving with it. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you want your friends to get their coverage from an independent source like us, please share the video with them. It means the world. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.